Good day, class. So today I will be discussing your activity number 11, which is about strings. But before that, let me give you a short discussion what the string is all about. So strings are considered as a sequence or series of characters and treated as a single data item. So actually strings are still under arrays. They are still considered as an array. The string data is enclosed within the double quotes and it includes letters, symbols, digits, and control characters. But the digits, which is used in strings, are for displaying purposes and they cannot be used in computations. Strings are also used in programs to store and process text data manipulation. So we have here different basic string functions used in Turbo-C. The first is the gets, which is a string input function, and it is the equivalent of scanf, and this is the syntax for that. In gets, you don't use control strings like %c, %d, or %f. You just use this syntax gets and then enclosed with inside the parentheses you just put the variable of the character. Okay, next is puts, which is the equivalent of your printf. Okay, so again we don't put control strings in puts. Okay, just and then we don't also put double quotes inside the parentheses here. We just use this syntax. Next is the string length. So this function returns the length of the string, and this is the syntax for that. String length, and then within the parentheses is the name of the string or the name of the character. Next is the string copy. So this string functions copies the content of string 2 to string 1. And the string 1 and string 2 can be a variable or a string data value. And this is the syntax for that. So it means that we are copying the content of string 2 to string 1. And I have here a sample program using gets and string length. So if you have noticed, I didn't use scanf here. Instead, I used gets. So after entering the value, it will print the number of string characters. So string length is in integer form. Okay, so if you have noticed, it's displaying 11 string characters, but if you're going to count, there are just 10 letters here. So how come it's displaying 11 characters? It's because from the first letter to the last letter, it's also counting the spaces in between the words or the characters. Okay, so in gets, whenever it encounters the enter, whenever you push the enter button on the keyboard, it will terminate. Okay, however in scanf, it will terminate if it encounters a space or whenever you push the space bar button on the keyboard. So that is the difference between using gets and scanf. Next is, I have here another sample program using puts and gets. Now, so if you have noticed, I didn't use printf or scanf here. Now the difference in puts and printf is that you are not allowed to put any control strings, okay, like %d. So if you are going to call a variable, you have to display it separately, okay. So, and then automatically at the end of your put statement, it will put the cursor on the next line. So if you have noticed, I didn't put a slash or a backslash n here, but automatically the cursor will go to the next line. Okay, so that is puts. Okay, that is under puts. So looking at this program, if you have noticed, after entering ch1 and ch2, there's a statement here, string copy. Okay, so it means that the content of ch2 will be copied to the content of ch1. So initially, I entered hello for ch1 and world for ch2. Now, after this statement, whenever I call ch1, it's not hello anymore, it's world. Okay. And if you have noticed, I just want to display this statement. String 1 is ch1, but I cannot do that in just one line. It's because you cannot put control strings inputs. There will be an error if you're going to do that. So you have to separate, to print or to print it separately. Okay, so puts, and then you have to enclose this with double strings, or I mean double quotes for the string of characters here. And then for the invoking or the calling of the variable, if you want to print the content of this variable, you have to do it separately. You cannot do it in one line. Okay. And then some more string functions. So we have string cat. This string function concatenates the string, or it will append or join string 2 to the end of string 1. And this is the syntax for that. Then we have string lower. So this string function converts all the uppercase letters in string to lowercase. And string upper is the opposite of string lower. It will convert all the letters to its uppercase. And I have here a sample output using string cat, string upper, and string lower. Okay, so after entering string 1 or ch1 and ch2, there's a statement here. It says string cat. So it means that whatever is the content of ch2 will be joined to ch1, and it will be stored in ch1. So now, whenever I call ch1, it's not, for example, in this output, the string 1 is hello and the string 2 is world. And then after doing this, whenever I call ch1, the content is not hello anymore. It's hello world. Okay. ch1 is displayed in uppercase because of this statement, string upper ch1. Okay. And then string 2, which is world, is now this converted to lowercase, all in lowercase. So whenever I call ch2, it's now in lowercase, unlike its original form, which is the first letter was in uppercase. Okay, but after this statement, it's all in lowercase. Now, if I'm going to create a flowchart and algorithm, this is what it looks like. So it's pretty much very simple. It's in sequence form or in sequence control structure. Okay, so string cut, string upper, and string lower are just put inside a process symbol or a rectangle. Okay, so that's the equivalent of string cut, string upper, and string lower. Okay, and this is the algorithm for that. Okay, next is the string reverse. So this string function reverses all the characters in the string. So I'll show you an example under string reverse later. Then I have also here string compare. So this string function compares two strings. So if string 1 is greater than string 2, the function returns a positive value. And if string 1 is less than string 2, the function returns a negative value. And of course, if they are equal, it returns a 0 value. And this is the syntax for that. So I have here an example using string compare. So after entering two strings, it will compare which is greater, or if it's less than, or if they are equal. Okay. So example, if I enter Romary Eder, so it will say that Eder is first alphabetically, and of course R, Romary, is less alphabetically. Okay. If I enter the same word, however, the first word is, or the first letter of the first word is in uppercase, while the second word is all in lowercase, it will say that the first word, which is in uppercase, or the first letter is in uppercase, is first alphabetically compared to the second word. Okay, because in string compare, it is case sensitive. It means that uppercase is not the same with lowercase. And of course, if you type exactly the same word, okay, letter by letter, they are the same, then it will say they are equal. So you could use string compare in arranging characters alphabetically, or if you're creating a program with a password, and your password is case sensitive, so you use string compare statement for that. And then I have here an example using string copy and string reverse. So after entering the value for ch1, I copied the content of ch1 to ch2, okay? And then in the printing process, I have here two control strings. So first, %s is referring to ch2, and the second control string here is referring to the string reverse of ch1. Okay, why do you think that I didn't use ch1 here and then string reverse ch1? It's because if I do that, this will not be the output. The output will become the reverse of Iramor is Iramor. It's because whatever changes happen to this statement here will reflect also to ch1 here if I use ch1 here. So that's why I have to save first or replicate ch1 to another variable so that whatever happens to ch1 will not affect the value that was stored in ch2. Okay. Then we also have string compare I. So this works like string compare, however, it will neglect the differences of the uppercase and lowercase. So for string compare I, it's not case sensitive. So the uppercase letter A is just equal to lowercase letter A. Okay. And this is the syntax for that. Then we also have string and copy. So this string function copies also the value from string 2 to string 1. However, it will just copy only a portion or a size of string 2 to string 1. Okay, so this is the syntax for that. Okay, so I have an example here. So I have variable A and variable B, and then I copied 3 characters from variable B to variable A. So for example, variable A holds Romary and variable B holds Eder. So because of this statement, the first 3 letters here is EDE, and it will copy EDE and replace the first 3 letters from variable A. Okay, so that's why if I call variable A, it's not Romary anymore, it's Ederi. Okay, because it replaced the first 3 letters here. If I make this 4, so the first 4 letters here is Eder, E-D-E-R. So it will replace the first 4 letters here also, which is R-O-M-A. And the result here will be Ederi, double R here. Okay. And then we also have the 2 upper and 2 lower. So this string function converts an input lowercase into its uppercase equivalent. And the same also to 2 lower, it will convert it to its lowercase equivalent. So it's like string lower and string upper, but the difference between the two of them is that you could change the letters 1 letter at a time. So it means that you have an option if you just want to change the first letter of the word or the second letter of the word or so on in that word. You have an option which letter you could change from the original value to its uppercase or to its lowercase equivalent. Unlike in string lower and string upper is that you have no choice but to change all the characters to its uppercase or lowercase equivalent. Okay. So I have an example here using 2 upper, and just take note if you're going to use the 2 upper or 2 lower statement is that you have to add also in your preprocessor command the ctype.h header file, or else this will have an error if you do not include this in your header files or in your preprocessor command. Okay, so in using 2 upper, you could use it as an array form. Okay, so you could just say that I want to uppercase 1 letter, or alternately, you could uppercase the letters alternately. And you can do that only using 2 upper. You cannot do that in string upper. Okay, so So now let me go back to let me discuss now your activity number 11. So your activity number 11 is entitled strings, and we will still use the same criteria for your activity. For the objective, so students will learn and understand the different string functions and how to use them to store and process text data manipulation in C programs. So you have to create a program that will allow the user to enter any name or word, and it will display the following. So the first is the number of characters. Next is, or the next line will show the lowercase of that word with space in between. And then the next line, it will show again that word still in lowercase, but reverse in the reverse of that word with space in between. And then the next line, it will display the equivalent of that word in uppercase with space in between. And then next line, it will show still the uppercase of that word, but reverse of that word in with space in between. And there should be an option to run the program again. So this is the sample output of that. Okay, so let me show you the running program. Okay, so example, if I enter hello world, so I made sure that there are uppercase and lowercase here. Okay, so now it's displaying the total number of characters. If you're going to count again, there's just 10, but it's displaying 11 because it's including the space in between the words. Okay, and then it's displaying the lowercase. If you have noticed, there are spaces in between the words, or the letters, I mean. There are spaces between the letters, and then the reverse of that in lowercase, then in uppercase, and then in lowercase. If I want to try again, so let's say, okay, so there are 14 characters, including the spaces in between the words. Okay, and if I would put a palindrome, so let's say a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Okay, so there are 22 characters, and if you have noticed, even though it is reversed, they are all the same. A man, a plan, a plan, a canal. There should be no A there. Again, let me try that. A man, a plan, Panama. A man, a plan, Panama. Okay, so this is what we call palindrome, that even you reverse the word, it's still the same. A man, a man, a plan. It should be a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Panama. There you go. Okay, they are now the same. Okay, so even if you're going to reverse it, it's still the same. That is what we call a palindrome. Okay, so if I'm done, then let's say no, and it will terminate. Okay, so for your student output, so of course, you have to put your flowchart followed by your algorithm, then your codes, followed by your screenshot in proper order. Okay, and for your reflection, so put everything you have learned in this activity, your learnings, your experience, not less than 200 words. Okay, so that's all for this video, and thank you very much.